Time and time again, children tell us that the support that they want when they're having issues with their mental health is support from people that they know and in environments for which they are familiar. So schools are really, really well placed, and school staff to deliver that kind of support. But there are issues and challenges within schools with being able to deliver that. Firstly, funding for resources. Secondly, confidence of staff to feel that they know how to deal with mental health issues. And thirdly, access to early intervention, because we all know that CAMHS is really stretched. There are a number of things that at the Bee-lieve Foundation we want to help. Firstly, we want to be able to provide resources for schools and for families. So that would be resources that schools can use as a whole in classrooms to support all children, but also evidence-based interventions that they can use to support individuals and groups.
Okay guys, ready? I'm going to talk to you a little bit about a very big word called emotions. Does anyone know what emotions means? Olivia, what does that mean?
Different feelings.
Good, well done. It means your different feelings. So we're going to use all of my helpful friends here. These are my bear friends, and they're going to help us with this little activity today. And we're going to talk about their emotions and our own emotions as well.
We also want to deliver and provide training for staff so that they can start to feel more confident and empowered to know that they already have the skills within them to be able to deal with mental health issues. And also deliver parent workshops so that we can be supporting families to support those young people. But we feel really strongly that that a preventative approach is really key. So we want to use our funds to develop self-care skills for children, to enable regular exercise, to nurture their talents, help them to build relationships, and to instill them with a sense of hope for the future. So in terms of mental health, the statistics tell us that 1 in 10 5 to 16-year-olds have a diagnosable mental health issue. And that means that that's roughly 3 in every average classroom. And alarmingly, 75% of those children never receive any treatment or support for their mental health issues. We also know from research that 50% of mental health issues in adulthood are already established by the time that the children are 14. So that means that the support when they're young, when they're in childhood and adolescence, is really, really key to help to prevent those issues from being established in the first place. Unfortunately, mental health issues are on the rise, and so we really need to act now.
How have you felt during lockdown, Poppy?
Well, at the start of lockdown, that I had a worry because I didn't know when lockdown was going to stop or how long it would carry on for, and I was worried that I'd miss things that I love.
What sort of things do you love?
School.
You love school?
Mm-hmm.
What do you love about school?
I like that you can socialise, but also you're getting an education as well.
How important are friends to your happiness?
They are very important for me because when I'm worried or sad, I can tell them, and they sometimes have the same worry, so we can talk about that, and then we just let it all go.
So if you could think of someone in your class, but don't say a name, could you tell if they were feeling sad?
Yes.
How would you know?
Because sometimes they do the body language when they do this, or you'll hear them sobbing, or they'll just have the depressed look on their faces.
Okay. And what do you think you could do to help them?
I can go over to talk to that person and see if they want me to, but if some people don't like it when people go over to them, so sometimes their problems need to be left with a responsible adult.
Children are particularly vulnerable to mental health issues for several reasons. Firstly, childhood and adolescence is really hard. There are so many pressures that are on children at that time. Things like exams, navigating friendships, academic pressure is huge. Family conflict, bullying, social media all create more difficulty for children. Also, whilst in adulthood, we have probably experienced anxiety before, so we know what that feels like, and we probably have some tools that we've developed to be able to cope with that feeling. But for many children, it's the first time that they've had those feelings, and they can be quite frightening. They may not have the vocabulary to be able to label those emotions, and also they won't have tools to manage it effectively unless we talk about it, unless we teach it to them and give them those tools to be able to manage it and give them that vocabulary to be able to express how they're feeling.
How does it make you feel when you're sad?
I don't really have an explanation for that, but it doesn't really make me feel too good
And what can you do when you're feeling sad? Who can you go to? Or
I usually go to my sister, my other sister, or my mum and dad, or a trusted adult.
so you've got a lovely family who are there to support you. And Harry, do you ever do anything on your own rather than talking to people? Is there anything else that you can do to keep your mind off how you're feeling?
I usually just play myself, really, in my room.
What do you like to play with in your room?
I usually play with my Lego that I like building with.
Why does that help?
Because it keeps my mind off what I'm sad about, because I'm concentrating on building something fun.
And finally, our brains aren't actually fully developed until we're around the age of 25. So for children and adolescents, they're much more driven by that emotional part of their brain. So they're less likely to respond in a kind of, they're less able to use reasoning and rational thought to be able to deal with those feelings. They're more likely to respond to events in an emotional way.
Right, before you go, let's smell one more flower and blow out one more candle. Smell your flower. Blow your candle. Lovely.